The idea that you can, based on how you act or how you speak, you can influence people to do things, and the amygdala to fire, because if the emotions are heightened, it suppresses the logic in your brain. And so that's misdirection. If you feel yourself getting scared or angry or emotional in any way, that should be a cue that we need to learn to pay attention to our bodies and take a deep breath. There was the technical aspect, and that's kind of what you see your stereotypical hacker on TV with a hoodie. And then there's the social engineering aspect, and that's what really caught my attention. The idea that you can, based on how you act or how you speak, you can influence people to do things. One predator can affect up to 400 kids. Stopping one predator literally can affect hundreds of kids' lives, and it costs around $6,000 to close the case on one predator. You need to create a safe place where your kids are willing to come to you. They're not going to be afraid of being punished or yelled at or whatever, regardless if they've done something stupid. It doesn't matter. If they've come to you, it's because they trust you, and they need to trust you. I spent a lot of my life being afraid of not being who people expected me to be. I've suffered with some really bad managers in the past that have just sort of made me scared to talk about anything, recognizing that it's okay to ask questions, because asking is actually a service to others.
Right on, man. So Lee, so glad to have you here, man. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
No, my pleasure. So the podcast always starts the same way, with a question about where you're from. So let's do that. Where are you from?
I grew up in El Paso, Texas, West Texas, immersed in the Hispanic community, loved it there. And I went to college at BYU, which brought me up here. That's where I met my wife. And yeah, didn't stay here, have been a bit around the country, but came back here to be a little closer to family recently.
Where else did life take you around the country?
Houston, Texas, right out of school. I worked for Hewlett-Packard.
Oh, nice.
And then from there to San Francisco. And that's where I started my work with the Federal Reserve, the San Francisco office there.
So Houston, San Francisco, ever any Midwest or East Coast or anything?
No. After San Francisco, we moved here. So it's been about eight and a half years.
Nice. Do you miss San Francisco at all?
Very much.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me about it. I was kind of a loaded question, frankly. I was thinking like people are like, oh, it's traffic, it's terrible, blah, blah. But
no, we lived in the East Bay, so we weren't in the main city, so a little on the outskirts. But the people there were just amazing. Like, I don't know, just we miss it.
I can see that. And how long were you there?
Not quite 5 years, 4.5 years or so.
That's cool. Yeah. I don't know.
I know California has its stigma, and especially even the San Francisco area, and it definitely had its issues. Like going downtown wasn't always a picnic.
Sure.
The hour-long commute each way, but I don't know. We connected really well with the people out there.
I get that. I mean, look, everywhere has something hard about it, right? I mean, it's just easier to put a label on traffic. I feel like people complain about it, and so
yeah, for sure.
Now, I've never lived in San Francisco, but I can feel that why you liked it a lot. And that's also cool. Like you were doing software development, right? I mean, and so that's like not exactly Silicon Valley, but it's like right there adjacent, and there's so much software going on there.
Yeah. Well, and more on the security side of it. So breaking software instead of building it.
Yeah, that's an interesting angle. I've never thought about security as breaking software. Is that how you kind of break it down?
Well, I mean, from the adversarial perspective. So I'm on offensive security. Mm-hmm. And so our job is to poke holes in things and try to identify where the flaws are, where the gaps are, break it. I mean, is a kind of a crass way to put it maybe, but we then also have to provide recommendations on how to fix it and how to make it stronger.
When you do that, are you doing that on software that like your coworkers are developing when you're trying to break it? Or are you doing this as like for other developing other software that's developed by other companies or
organizations? A little bit of both. So yeah, stuff that's custom built as well as off the shelf products that we bring in. We make sure that they're up to snuff. And
so when you go to your coworkers and you're like, I found a flaw in your build, is there like a little rivalry there? Like a little bit of, oh man, are they like usually glad you found this? Or?
For the most part, it's pretty well received, and we have to be very tactful in the way that we present things. We obviously don't want to, because a lot of times we're causing more work for them, but at the same time, we're all in this together to help secure or create a more secure environment.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did you study computer science at BYU?
It was information systems. So it was
Okay.
more of business and computer stuff mixed.
When were you there?
2001 to 2007.
You had a good experience?
Yeah, I did. That's where they didn't have a cybersecurity program at the time, but there were 2 classes, 2 electives that we could take. One was forensics and one was computer security. And those just kind of blew my mind. And I knew I wanted to do that at that time.
Well, what was it about forensics and computer security? And how did those 2 things go together?
Yeah, so computer security was more just kind of a general overview of everything. I mean, I think they even got into ethical hacking as one little module in there. But then the forensics was really cool because they would get hard drives from DI and they would be supposedly wiped. But we would use these forensic tools to go in and reconstruct all the deleted files. And it was just fascinating. Like I've dabbled in amateur magic over the years, and just this idea, these puzzles of trying to figure out things, how to break things down, but also how to, deceive is kind of a weird way to put it, but it's just fun to be able to present something and trick people into seeing how it is. And so anyways, just all of that, the idea of finding something hidden. And I don't know, it's just kind of that, kind of an ego trip kind of to
That's
a
cool.
degree. Yeah.
And look, I get what you're saying, deceive. Like if people have can have like a loaded or a negative connotation to it, but but it's sleight of hand, like well-intentioned deception. Like I don't.
And it's for entertainment. Like that's the main purpose. It's not for any other thing.
Who doesn't like a magic show, bro? I love those things. So on the note of wiping the drive, can you ever actually really wipe a drive?
No. I would take them out to the shooting range.
Really?
Yeah, and punch holes in them.
What about phones? It's a drive too, I guess, same thing, right?
Yeah, I think the phones are a little trickier. I still have all of my smartphones.
Really?
I haven't really done anything with them. So similar type of thing. I mean, I think you can reasonably probably erase it, wipe it, and resell it. And I think the chances are low. I mean, most of the stuff is stored in the cloud anyways. Not a lot of it is stored on the phone itself these days. So, yeah.
So because it's in the cloud, we're all going to be toast if you're
Got to have some strong passwords and have your 2-factor set up on your cloud accounts.
Are you a password manager guy?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yep.
I know.
Well, I know there's a stigma too, because people feel like I put all of my stuff in one place. I mean, it can be a little scary but yeah, honestly, that is the safest way, because then you've got, instead of reusing the same password, maybe with slight variations across multiple accounts, it's completely random passwords. You could never remember this 20-character random thing. And it makes things so much more secure.
If you don't want to plug it, it's okay. What one do you use? Curious.
I used LastPass for a while, but they've had some issues. And so I've since moved to 1Password. And so that's a good one. Bitwarden is free for the most part, I think. So that's another good one as well.
I always worry about using something free like that, because you always know, like if something's free, like nothing's free, right? So that means that I'm paying a price. So I think, like, why would I don't want to use a free software that's used to protect my identities.
That's a good point. And a lot of these, they have a free tier. And so if you want to, they have premium. So they get you can try it out for free, and maybe it's a limited number of accounts, or you can't really sync it to too many devices, but then you pay I think it's like $60 a year, or maybe like for a family plan, it might be $100 a year for your whole family to have their own separate password managers. You can share stuff with each other. And so, yeah.
Okay. That's good enough. But
yeah,
I mean, it's not foolproof, right?
Right. Yeah. And so same here. Like I love the convenience factor of it, that I can access my documents on my phone wherever I'm at. And so, yeah, I think that is a risk to have that. You always have the balance between convenience and security. And so, yeah, it's just making sure that you have the multi-factor authentication, where you're getting the separate codes on top of the password that you enter in to make it more difficult. But yeah, nothing's foolproof. You just don't want to be the lowest hanging fruit, essentially. And so if you can do better than most, then hopefully that's good
That
enough.
makes sense. That makes sense. You're just trying to make sure that there's someone between you, which is kind of sounds not nice, but you don't want to be the one to, like, the slowest person in the race, so to speak.
Yeah,
right?
right.
Oh man. Okay. That's good advice. Okay. So what was your first job after BYU?
With Hewlett Packard.
Oh, that's right. Houston. Houston.
I did some IT support.
Okay. But not super, was that just the job that came around? And so you're like, okay,
pretty much. It was the one interview that panned out and had a decent starting wage. And so, yeah.
And you said you finished 2007?
Yeah.
I mean, so things are starting to go south right then. So it's not like, 2 years earlier, it might've been different, or later it might've been different, but yeah, that was a tough time to finish.
Yeah.
Okay. So you worked at HP, and how long were you there?
5.5 years.
Doing IT support the whole time?
No. So I accepted my job offer, and we flew down, bought a home, came back to Utah to get things squared away, and I got a call saying that my job no longer existed.
Oh, dude.
And they're like, "But we have this other place. If you want to jump in there, we can put you there." I'm like, I'm already committed.
Yeah.
So we go down there, and then 9 months later, that job gets dissolved. It was just a nightmare. HP was, this is the time they went through, I think, 4 or 5 CEOs. It was a nightmare. But after about 2 years of working there, they had an entry level cybersecurity position. And so I jumped into that. That is something, because like I said, that's something that I'd been wanting to do. And so, about 2 years in, I switched over to security.
That's cool. And do you remember what type of work you were doing at that point? Was it just general cybersecurity? I mean,
yeah, more general. Like, we would be reviewing all the patches that came out and make sure to send out alerts to say, okay, these products need to be patched by this time. I did some scanning of websites for vulnerabilities, and then we'd create reports to help get those fixed.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then eventually they started up the red team, which more of the adversarial security. And since I was a new, fresh guy, I didn't have a lot of baked in bad habits or whatnot. They said, "Hey, you want to join?" And then I jumped on it as well, because that was something that I wanted to do.
So the opposite of red, it feels like it would be blues. Red and blue, those are the two. So, explain to me, like, let me tell you how technical I am.
Okay.
Zero technical. I ran PowerShell once on my computer, and I had to reformat the machine after. I don't know what I did.
Oh, no.
I don't know. I'm zero. I'm not technical.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
so talk me through it.
Yeah, sure. So red team, blue team, that kind of has the basis back in military terminology. You have your blue team was typically your home forces, and the red team was the adversary forces coming in to test the mettle of the blue team. And so similar type of thing. Your blue team is typically your defensive. They're the ones monitoring for any intrusions, any outside attacks coming in, or insider threats as well. And then the red team's job is to emulate an adversary. So they're doing research on what adversaries are actually doing, as well as coming up with their own things to figure out how to bypass different areas of security within the company.
That's cool. I bet that's super interesting.
Yeah.
Are you, you're working at HP. So are you, like, what's the security aspect for a hardware company? Like, these are just drivers or things that work on?
Yeah, I mean, they had both so they had the hardware business, and they also had the enterprise services. And in Houston, I mean, it can be as simple as like Wi-Fi. Like, if their Wi-Fi isn't secure, then you can figure out how to get into the company, and you can exfiltrate plans, or you can send phishing emails, and again, get access to their computers by getting them to click on a link and wreak havoc.
Is that just becoming more and more sophisticated, or is that becoming more and more difficult to defend against too over time? It feels like there's just more and more access points all around all the time. You're talking about Wi-Fi, and in my mind, I thought, so that's what you're worrying about in 2007, maybe like a little Bluetooth, but then there's also now a lot of phones have NFC in them. And I mean, are these all?
Yeah, no, the attack surfaces just kind of explode, and it gets bigger and bigger. I mean, security is kind of keeping in pace as well.
Sure.
But now with AI on the present, I mean, that's able to just run circles around us. And so it's just trying to keep caught up with that just constantly.
You mentioned AI. Do you worry about that at all? Like, from a privacy perspective and a security perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I use it daily, but it's not lost on me that a lot of my stuff that I put in there, even though I tell it not to store it or to train on it and whatnot, I don't know. It's
It's probably
possible
not
that
listening.
it may not be listening. They may be using it for other things, maybe not the training, but
So when you say you tell it to, do you just literally give it a command at the beginning? Hey, don't train on this.
no,
Or
they're in the settings. You can go
Okay.
in the settings and turn that off.
Got it. Yeah, I worry about that a lot. I don't know. Yeah. What what do you use it for? Use it like in your development work, or just
Yeah, I use it. We have stuff that we can use, specific models that we can use at work, but then for personal stuff, I use it for anything and everything. For helping me prepare for a podcast, I'll put in the host information and try to get, okay, what does their audience look for? How can I shape what I'm talking about? Or I sometimes overcommit to complicating our home life by putting too much technology in, and so I use AI to help me troubleshoot and figure out how to do that. So it's a personal assistant that's super helpful.
Yeah, it can be super helpful. I agree. Your home, like when you talk about your home technology, like you're a big home automation guy.
I've tried, but it gives me too many headaches, and so I've got minimal things. I've got some smart light bulbs here and there, or
Yeah,
but not too much.
I love the idea of it. I really do.
Yeah.
I feel you. It can be, people get really into it, man. And I think if you like have the time and commitment, like I spend a little bit of time on Reddit reading, and people are, it can be pretty cool, but I think it takes a little effort.
Yeah.
A little more than it seems. Okay. So but you're not still with HB, right? So
Right.
What ultimately, and you're also not in Texas. So you said, you talked me through the geography. You left Texas and went to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Was this for a new job in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the San Francisco Fed.
That's right. Yeah, no, you said that too. Okay. And were you doing similar work with the San Francisco Fed?
Yeah. Actually, so my boss at HP, he left because of all the crazy stuff that was going on.
Sure.
And he went to work for the Fed, and he said, you should come over here. There's great opportunity for growth. And so I jumped on it.
Nice. And you've been there ever since.
Yeah.
That's cool. But you're still with Federal Reserve, but not with the San Francisco Bank, right?
Right. So Salt Lake is one of the branches for the San Francisco Fed. So we're still in the 12th district. But yeah, I currently am an employee of the Richmond Fed.
Okay. Sorry, keep going with that. What you're saying?
Yeah. So that's just where, that's where a lot of our managers were located. And so it was just logistically, it was a little simpler.
Makes sense. How many Federal Reserve banks are there?
There's 12 head offices, and then each of those has a number of branches.
But there's 12 offices like San Francisco, Virginia, and whatever.
New York, Atlanta, Dallas. Yeah.
Okay. And do they all operate under the umbrella of the larger federal?
So they all operate independently.
Interesting. Okay.
And then they answer, or they're regulated by the Board of Governors, who's accountable to Congress. But yeah, each bank runs independently, has their own president, does research for their area of the nation, and makes decisions based on that.
Really? So it's that micro that it can. So I think I might out myself here, but I think that the goal of the Federal Reserve is to regulate monetary policy, right?
Uh-huh.
So can you influence monetary policy at not at exactly a micro level, but at a more regional level?
Yeah, so the Board of Governors, can't remember all the exact terms, but there's a committee, and it rotates, the bank presidents rotate through. So it's New York is there every year, but then the other bank presidents rotate every other year, and they vote on what happens with monetary policy. And so they'll bring to the table what's happening in their area of the country, and they'll talk about it and figure out what the best overall goal is for.
That's interesting. Yeah, I like that. I must have learned that somewhere along the lines, but
it's taken me years to I've taken lots of little history classes on the Fed and that's me working at the Fed. And so I get it if you're not in it every day, that it's like, I didn't know that the Fed it's a nonprofit. Like any of the money that we make goes directly to the Treasury. Yeah. And so after paying for everything else, but
I didn't realize the Fed was a nonprofit.
Yeah.
That's cool. Interesting. I'm just thinking about other organizations within the federal government, but anyway, that's a conversation maybe for another day. Okay. So you started at the Federal Reserve. From a cybersecurity perspective, what are your What are just your main goals or focus areas from a cybersecurity perspective at the Federal Reserve? Because let me frame this a little bit further. Sorry, from like a guy like me, an outsider's perspective, I'm thinking, especially until several years ago, before even the introduction of any kind of digital currency, I'm just thinking like, okay, what's a cybersecurity need from a product that's intrinsically, it's heavily paper, right? I mean,
Mhm. Yeah.
so yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I mean, there's payment systems. There's all
Oh yeah,
ways
yeah,
that
of
we
course.
facilitate payments within. So yeah, again, I'm the guy that breaks things.
Okay.
I don't always understand like how everything works together, but we're given like we'll have meetings where we'll meet with the business partners and they'll give us an overview of a certain system or whatnot, and we'll look at it, talk with them, figure out what their concerns and objectives are, and so we'll take that in, and then we'll also use what we know from the trainings that we've taken, our experience, and kind of merge those two together and develop a plan to assess those different areas of the company. And so then we'll run different types of engagements depending on what it is, short term or long term. Yeah, that's kind of a high level.
That's cool. Thank you. I appreciate the break. And that makes sense. Of course, there's a digital aspect to it. After hearing what you said, I think, oh yeah, of course. Like we're not still, faxing papers back and forth and everything else. So right on. So with your background in, on red teams, how did you end up then building an awareness and education program? Let's talk about that just a little bit, if you're open to it.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I was interested in getting a security, got into it, fell in love with the red teaming portion of it, and realized that there were different facets to the red teaming. There was the technical aspect, and that's kind of what you see your stereotypical hacker on TV with a hoodie and just all these magical commands that they can type in and take control over things. And then there's the social engineering aspect, and that's what really caught my attention and kind of ties back into that fascination with magic, the idea that you can, based on how you act or how you speak, you can influence people to do things. And so just that idea of the behavioral psychology and learning why people react to certain things, why they fall for scams, that really, I don't know, piqued my interest. And the more I dove into it, the more I realized how easy it is and how often people are falling prey to scammers. And I wanted to stop that. And so that's kind of been my shift into awareness is like, yes, part of being on the red team is we'll emulate those adversaries and trick people and whatnot. And then we report on it to help educate them on what they can do better. And that it was a little indirect for me. I didn't want to be the one doing the scamming and conning, even if it's ethical and for the business. I wanted to be more directly impactful with the educational side of things and reach out, present, teach, design games, whatever it is to help regular people be more aware.
I like that. Can you tell me, like, in a nutshell, what social engineering is?
So yeah, one of my early mentors, I love his definition, is that social engineering is influencing someone to do something that may or may not be in their best interest. And so it could be a doctor or a police officer that's trying to social engineer somebody to do something that's in their best interest, or it could be an attacker influencing them, manipulating them to do something that may not be in their best interest.
Interesting. And like you just said, there's two angles of it. You clearly, but you're working an interesting line here because you're looking to do things, you're looking to help people make good decisions and be in their best interest, but you kind of have to, in some ways, have to think and act in a little bit like someone who's trying to do things that are not in their best interest.
Yes. And so that's a very, this mentor that kind of helped me along. One of his main mantras is to leave people feeling better after interacting with them. And that's even when you're trying to con them, even in the frame of doing it for the security of the business. You don't want to scare them that they're going to be losing their job to try to get information from them, even though that's what the bad guys are going to be doing. You want to come at it from a healthier standpoint so that after they learn about that engagement, they feel they learn something and they don't resent the security program for taking shortcuts.
Interesting. And that's a piece of social engineering, the outcome. Wow.
Yeah.
And wow, that's really interesting. Would you mind sharing who your mentor is?
No. Okay. Chris Hadnagy. He's kind of, at least in our area, he's kind of, I don't know, the godfather of social engineering, and he has a company called Social Engineering LLC.
Yeah, that seems
And
pretty.
he's testified before Congress. He was the founder of the Innocent Lives Foundation, so he's done a lot of good in that area.
That's cool. How did you get connected with Chris?
I heard him first on his podcast, and then I took some trainings from him. And then I've been at the Innocent Lives Foundation for the last 7 years or so, and have had interactions there.
That's neat. Do you find that, like, I mean, look, so I'm going to paraphrase what you just said, but you didn't know Chris before, and then you got connected with him, and now you volunteer, and he's been mentoring you.
Yeah.
Do you find that people who work in this community are pretty, like, in general, their nature is like, hey, I want to help people out? I mean,
Yeah. For the most part, I think there are those that maybe get off on whatever, on breaking into things and whatnot. Sure. But as far as I've seen, the vast majority of them, do want to make a difference.
I like that. And I think that makes me feel good. I'm glad to know that some people are still willing to give back. Because I mean, dude, the work that you're doing is really impactful. And so, so let's talk a little bit more. Let's just jump right there then if we can. Yeah. So do I remember that you went and got some further education in social engineering recently to really like dive deep into it?
So I've taken multiple trainings in social engineering, and then most recently I completed a master's program in learning experience design. So more instructional design, how to design online content to teach people.
Is learning experience design, is that like really essentially really formalized social engineering, right? You're trying to teach a concept and influence?
No, it's actually, it's not super related, not directly related like that. It's more, it's meant for educators learning how to teach any concept, whether it's anything, it doesn't have to be security related. And so that's having most of my background in the offensive security. I wanted to get more into the awareness side of things, and I was applying for jobs, trying to figure out how to shift, and I couldn't. And so there's an online program that I was talking with somebody, and he mentioned instructional design, and I'd never heard of it before, and found this program and jumped in and loved it, and was like for the main purpose of shifting into designing, creating content to help educate people.
That makes sense. So you mentioned game design a few minutes ago. So were those two things connected? Your game design and your
they happened about the same time, the idea for the game, and I was hoping that I could leverage the game design for some of the assignments and whatnot, the course curriculum. It didn't really work out so much, but so after I finished my program, I spent like a solid year working on the game design, taking things that I had learned from there as well as from my career, and folded that into the game.
It's cool. Let's talk about the game, right? If we're okay with it. Is this like I read that you had worked on game design, but I didn't. Is this like a game? Like, is it an app on your phone, or is it a web game, or?
No, I brought a copy of.
Oh, dude, I'm so glad you did. Awesome.
Yeah, it's called Hack Attack Defense.
Okay.
And it's a card game. So I wanted to make it as simple components as possible, so that low cost for people. But yeah, it's just a deck of cards, and it's
Can we open it?
Yeah, we can open
Let's
it.
check it out.
And you've got tech cards that you're trying to protect. And so you've got like your personal laptop, your smart light bulb, your MP3 music library. Anyways, a whole stack of things that you're protecting, and they each have defenses on them that'll help protect them from targeted cyber attacks. And so during the game, you're drawing cards into your hand, different defenses, and these are all real life defenses, and what they're protecting is loosely what would actually be protected in real life, and these are actual cyber attacks that would likely target those things. So it's meant to be loosely educational, but then you'll have cyber attacks that come up, and you have your user errors, which is kind of smaller scale risks that can happen during the game. And one of the key things is this reality check card. It's a defense card, but it's a wild. And one of the main things that I want to try to communicate with my curious and secure brand is just this idea that emotional and mental health is really kind of the silver bullet, or one of the best ways to defend yourself, just having that mental clarity.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And it makes it, being in cybersecurity, I know I get a sense that people feel a little guilt or shame if I'm talking about things that I do and they're not doing in securing themselves. And so I wanted just a low risk, a very easy way for them to ask questions when things come up. So if they really care about protecting their personal laptop, or maybe something that's maybe a little less like their home security camera or their kid's tablet, these are things that just bring up a natural conversation. And
this is great. What I like about this, and I'm only seeing it for the first time, obviously, but what I like right now is that it just playing a game brings quick awareness to things, and that, like, if you a little bit of understanding, a little knowledge, a little light removes a lot of fear. And I think to your point, like, people are like embarrassed, like, oh, I don't, maybe they don't even know what a router is or router updates. But if you play a game and you're just shooting the breeze, and like it's easy to have conversation, just become familiar with these terms that some people don't think about very often. So I like this. And what age is this targeted for?
I mean, I think an 8 or a 10-year-old could play it. They may not grasp the concepts, just because everything's color coordinated and whatnot. So and the icons. So, but yeah, young kids can play it. I've had friends that have played it with their kids, and the kids will point out, "Dad, why don't you have a password manager? Or why don't you do this?" And so it's just it's a great way to kind of just instill these ideas into them at a young age. And then, my social media, my goal is to, like, I've been going through each of these cards to kind of give a little bit more in-depth understanding of what each of these cards, how they work in real life. And so that's another aspect of the game that I've been working on. Kids
are the ultimate, I don't know what the right word is. They will, like, identify any weakness that you have, and like, you're not doing that, Dad, to fix it. And you're like, they're so good at it.
Right.
Oh man. That's, yeah. That your comment about, Dad, why don't you just relate? It hits me so heavy. My kids are always doing that. Oh man. What a great product. I mean, how, is it okay?
Yeah.
The cards are nicely made. They have like a good quality to them. Like, I really like these. How long did it take you to develop this game?
I mean, the idea was like probably a couple years in the making, but then it was like all of last year was kind of hard at developing, play testing. So
I like it.
9 months to a year.
And I like it's red and blue labeled. I like that.
Yeah, and my next one will be Hack Attack Offense. And so that's when you take the role of the attacker and you're trying to take advantage of vulnerable targets. And so trying to give another aspect of helping people be aware of how an attacker thinks and how they can apply that knowledge.
I think this is really helpful. I can think of so many applications for this. Where can people buy this online?
Yeah. Sodalite Games is my publisher. I think there's a link on my website too, leeanderson.net. But yeah, that's $12, so it's not much.
I mean, yeah, come on, that's fun.
Yeah,
I mean, even just to thumb through them, like someone will get something like, this one's funny. The find a USB drive in the parking lot. Of course you plug it in. Of course. As soon as you pick up, you're immediately like, it's like the sign that says wet paint, do not touch. Of course you want to touch it, right?
How
like,
wet is
let's
it?
see if it really is that wet, Can I? Challenge accepted, That's funny, man. Yeah. I like this. I like this a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Has it been fairly?
Yeah. It's been a little bit of a mix. I had a company buy a large number for a conference that they had to give out as swag, and a tech company. And I've had, lots of family and friends too that have bought it. So yeah, it seems like there's a lot of interest in the corporate area to kind of help educate their employees on how to be safe at home, so that can hopefully bleed over into professional life.
That's one of the scenarios I was thinking. I was like, I could imagine going to a conference and like playing this as like a little icebreaker or something, like a fun, like a quick, I don't know. That'd be really good, especially for, you're probably not going to, people at DEF CON aren't going to play this, maybe. Well, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
but,
they might buy it to play with their friends and family, but yeah, it isn't one that
it's not made for people who are heavily technical like that. But that's cool. I really like it. Thanks. That's well done, man.
Yeah,
well
thanks.
done. Yeah. So what made you want to gamify this?
I'm an avid board gamer, so I love playing games, and I've played some games that are on the educational spectrum. Like, they don't necessarily teach something hardcore, but they introduce you to concepts. And I love that idea. Like, there's a game where it's just a periodic table of the elements, but you're moving along it and figuring out how it's all interrelated and whatnot. And then they have like a supplemental material on how the game movements and whatnot actually translate to real scientific principles.
Interesting.
And so I wanted to do something similar and just a fun way, like you said. And it's what's great is like you can, if I'm talking to my parents or my friends or family or whatever about security ideas, things may not latch on to them the way that I see them. But if this is just like you essentially everything's on the table. I mean,
Literally.
like literally, and so many different concepts, they can latch on to the ideas that click with them. And that allows them to then, I don't know, invest a little bit more into things that they're curious about.
Yeah. It even probably starts interesting conversation. I mean, yeah, I think that's great. I also like that I've talked, like, I'm just going back, I'm thinking through my personal life, and like, I'm thinking of the amount of people that I've talked with, just like, just regular conversations, like people who are developing something like games, apps, whatever. Like, I think it's kind of unique. It's super unique to be developing. Not as many people develop a physical product.
Yeah.
I think that's really unique and fun because I don't know. I like it. There's something to still having something in your hand.
Yeah. And I thought about like, I could write a book to kind of teach these things, but it's just like, this is like, if people don't want to learn and they just want to have fun, I mean, they can have fun. But if they want to dive a little bit more into it, it gives them it's a little more accessible, I think.
Yeah, it's easier. It's a way better alternative to sit with your friends. And how many people do you need to play? You need 2 people?
2 to 6.
2 to 6?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a way better alternative than just sitting and playing on a phone. It's easy. And people are like, it's striking. Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, great. That's great. I'm so excited about this thing, man.
Well, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So your interest in magic, is there any connection here? I'm just thinking like,
yeah, I mean, that's, I think maybe part of the game aspect, the magic, the idea of having secret knowledge that you can wow people with and get them excited about, but then also learning how they do it is just mind blowing, just to see how somebody who's masterful at it, like David Copperfield, he was one of my favorites growing up. Yeah, just that. And again, just that, the behavioral psychology aspect of it, where you can put on this front and people are watching and believing everything, and you don't realize everything that's going on in the background. I don't know. Just all of that is just,
I mean, you're not alone in that. Like, there's a reason. Like, I remember David Copperfield, man. Like, there was a David Copperfield event coming on, whatever, Tuesday night. Like, it was a big deal.
yeah, you were there.
Yeah, well, for sure. Do you like more of that stage magic, the big stage magic, or do you like I keep nailing that thing. Do you like the more, like up close? I don't know what is, but
close up magic. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that, I mean, as far as like, I enjoy all of it, watching it. As far as like what I do, I don't do anything big. It's more card tricks or little things that I can do in front of a couple people. But yeah,
I love watching there was a guy at an event I went to one time who's coming up doing close up magic, and I was like trying so hard. I was like locked in on him, man, trying to find. So good. It's amazing. You see like the sleight of hand, and I know it's just impressive to see, like, I'm standing this close to you and you're just completely, whatever you're doing is completely distracting me, as locked in as I am. I don't know. I can see why people like it. Do you do any of it yourself, or are you more of a student of it?
a little bit. I
won't put you on the spot.
Yeah, no. Yeah. No, but I've done.
Wow me now.
I have kids at home, and so it's fun doing it for them or for their friends. I've tried bringing it in, not very much, but I've tried bringing it in on a security awareness side of things. We're teaching people, again, just how misdirection works and how these are principles that attackers actually use, in not to entertain you, but to actually steal your money. And I mean, so yeah, a little bit of everything. Yeah.
I could see that misdirection working from attack. How does it work? Do you have any examples you can share of how misdirection works, like for a consumer like me, like where attackers might try to use that to get at a consumer?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you think about even just like your basic phishing email, like the way that you want to craft the phishing email is in a way that's going to trigger the emotional part of your brain, the amygdala, to fire, because if the emotions are heightened, it suppresses the logic in your brain. And so that's kind of the misdirection. It's like, oh no, I'm trying to think, like, this foreign prince wants me to send money because I don't know, he's willing to give me lots of money. If I give him a little boost, I'm going to end up with $10,000, and like that. So there's that, again, that greed, that emotion of something that you want is going to suppress the logical thinking. And that may not be a great one, because that's kind of an old school fish. But people prey on older people, like when they call them saying their grandkid, they're the kid in a foreign country and they need to be bailed out of jail and they need this money. And so the grandparents are, again, heightened. They're not able to think logically, not all the time. I mean, I've
Sure.
had some, like, fortunately, my grandmother was able to say, call the grandson actually and verify whether or not it was him. But yeah, so again, this is the misdirection to try to get you distracted so that you're not thinking about what may actually be happening.
What are the I mean, what are the red flags that people should look for when they're seeing something um that it might be a cue that, hey, this might be some misdirection?
Yeah, I think trusting your gut, because I think people have that instinct a lot of times. And again, that kind of matches the brand that I'm going with, that curious and secure. Be willing to ask questions. And if it's too good to be true, it likely is. If nothing is free, if you feel yourself getting scared or angry or emotional in any way, I think that should be a cue that we need to learn to pay attention to our bodies and take a deep breath and to allow our brain to start functioning in a better way.
That's really good advice. I mean, I like that because, well, I like it for a lot of reasons, but I like it because it's simple. Like if you can train yourself to think, hey, just check your emotions. Like, I'm feeling something. It doesn't mean you don't have to know what to do. You just know, hey, if I'm feeling something in the situation, that means it's time to take a beat. Like I need to breathe.
Yeah. And
take a second, just step away.
And I think that works. I mean, that works not just in those situations, but when you're in conversation with a significant other or your kids. I mean, if you're feeling those emotions, you're going to be a much better person if you can take it down a notch.
Yeah, for sure. Just make some space so you can think and respond and not react.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Are you an advocate, or do you, like, in your own life, do you, like, this is clearly something you practice in the moment, but do you like when you're not, in a potential moment where you need to think about that? Like, do you have like a daily practice or anything that you do? Like, are you like a meditator, or do you like do breath work or anything? Or
I've done bits and pieces. I haven't done it very consistently, but it is something that I do like and want to do. My wife is really great about going on hikes regularly to be out in nature and have that grounding experience. I like to do that when I can as well. But otherwise, I like getting lost in books.
That's your grounding.
Yeah. Yeah.
That works. So back to your work with the Innocent Lives Foundation. You've been with them how long?
About 7 years.
Oh, wow. What was something that was really surprising to you when you started working with them?
Yeah, so being in the offensive security, there's a concept called open source intelligence gathering. And that's where we will go online and try to find public information about an individual. And we'll use that to craft phishing emails or something like that. Like if their social media isn't locked down, or they have blog posts or company profiles or whatnot, we go in and we'll use that information. Well, I like doing that. And I wanted to figure out, okay, how can I use this for other purposes, other good? And I found that the Innocent Lives Foundation, they did a lot of that to help track down online predators, to identify them and then give that information over to law enforcement so that law enforcement could then apprehend the individuals. And it's just been like, I've heard that it's dark and that there's crazy stuff, but it's just when you actually see it and learn about it, it's just, I don't know. There's no words to describe it.
I feel like it takes a certain type of person to not look away at that point. That's easy to think, right? If you know that there's something out there and you're like, let's turn a blind eye, that I'm not ready for this. I want to pretend that it doesn't exist. But you're choosing to accept it and do something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, was that when you had your first experience here, was that immediately like, we have to do something about this? Or was it, what was that process like for you to make that decision?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, I mean, there are times that I do want to turn a blind, like I don't want to engage in this. I don't want to see it. But then I've got kids at home too, and I don't want this to be them or their friends or anything. And if we can make a difference, every little difference hopefully is allowing law enforcement to be better equipped to be able to handle, especially with AI, just the more and more that it's happening.
Do you find that most of the agencies that you work with, they're like, they want to get the information that you have and they take it pretty seriously?
Yeah, I think it's taken some time to build up that respect, but I think they're seeing more and more the quality of work that we're delivering, and it's been really good to be able to have a more regular interaction with them.
Can you talk about one that worked like effectively that's out there? Or?
I'm trying to remember. I
It's
mean,
okay. We don't-
yeah, if you go, so one of the areas that we have a lot of educational material on our website. So innocentlivesfoundation.org will have, and there are a few cases on there where in one instance was these parents were concerned about their daughter who
Mhm.
had been communicating with somebody on their phone and had been trying to remember. They kind of overlap sometimes, but asking for inappropriate pictures, threatening them to blackmail them, especially with AI coming up and being able to generate images with just a person's face. I mean, you got to be careful with allowing your schools to publish pictures of your kids online. I mean, they can take
Yeah.
all that stuff and run amok with it. And anyways, just allowing, so we work with parents who are concerned about their kids, or so we take online, just like if people know of somebody, they can submit a case online. But yeah, it's just so many ways. And gaming platforms, if your kids can chat on games, that's an inroad for attackers to come in and interact with them and pretend they're somebody that they're not.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are your like? I don't want to. You don't have like what age range are your kids? Like are they teenagers or are they little kids still?
Yeah, no teenagers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what should parents be teaching their kids about using devices, knowing that there's no way to completely separate yourself from using a device in today's world?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that I really try to communicate with in the articles and whatnot that I write with the Innocent Lives Foundation is that you need to, one, create a safe place where your kids are willing to come to you, that they're not gonna be afraid of being punished or yelled at or whatever, regardless if they've done something stupid. It doesn't matter. Like if they've come to you, it's because they trust you, and they need to trust you. They need to trust in a responsible adult. And so it's creating an open environment where that can happen. There are apps and devices that can help monitor internet activity, and those are good guardrails. And I think a lot of people use those to maybe spy on their kids. But kids are smart. They know how to get around guardrails at school or whatever you do at home. And so again, it's everything needs to be done in open communication with your kid. You let them know, this is what we're installing this on your phone, or we're putting these devices in the house because we care about you. We know we don't want things to accidentally happen to you or whatever. And so again, just having that open dialogue. And then lastly, have your kids teach you. That's a big thing, because the kids sometimes they know so much more about what's going on. I mean, I'm constantly surprised about new apps or new games or whatnot. And so allowing your kid to teach you, it builds that relationship and also helps you just get a little better insight into their lives.
That's a great piece of advice. I love that. Instead of trying to go back behind and like figure out back channel what kids are using, just, hey, teach me what's going on. Teach me about your whatever it is. I love that.
Yeah, I can't take credit for that. That came from one of our board members at the Innocent Lives Foundation, but I've really same reaction. I've loved that perspective.
Yeah. Well, shout out to the board member for coming up with that.
Yeah.
You got it. Yeah. What about like device use? Do you think that some devices are more secure than others? Or I mean, are you a fan of like letting your kids have devices at home or in general?
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't let them have a smartphone until they're 16. And then social media doesn't even come until after they've kind of shown they can be responsible there.
I think that's reasonable. Have you read the book, The Anxious Generation?
I haven't, but I've read other books by Jonathan Haidt, and I really like that guy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really like that. And as far as like devices that are more secure or not than others, I mean, sometimes we may be tempted to give our kids an old device, but those typically are no longer supported by security patches. And so, yeah, sometimes you have to maybe spend a little bit more if you're going to give them something that can be a little bit more, at least technically secure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, man, because you're like, you want your kids to be like able to, I don't know, like you want them to be able to operate in a digital world, but also like, freaking scary, man. It's so scary. And good, well-intentioned kids, like it's hard. So yeah. So you mentioned a couple sites that you're aware of when we were emailing. back and forth. You mentioned Telegram, Instagram, Snapchat, Wiz, and Kick, and in the past, Mastodon. What is it about those sites that makes them so dangerous for kids?
Yeah, some of them, well, for one, there was a recent ruling. I think a New Mexico judge successfully sued Meta, who owns Facebook and Instagram, and because they knew that what they were doing was damaging to kids. They had received evidence that their methods were purposely addicting and bringing in teenagers, and so the lawsuit went through. And so it's these sites, even as legitimate and as prolific as they are used to target kids. And the predators online, they know how these algorithms work, how to get suggested as friends and whatnot. And yeah, and so those are the big ones you think would be more regulated. And then you get smaller ones like, I don't know how small Telegram is, but I mean, that's just, there's all kinds of badness there. You have Discord, which people can stand up their own server and people can connect to. And so it's not regulated. Mastodon is similar, is that it's just this disparate, unregulated system. And so kids connect because their friends are, because the game told them to. And yeah, it's all downhill from there. And so, that's just the list of currently. I mean, things shift and change as it goes on. And so I would say all social media is suspect, and make sure to communicate that to your kids.
I got an advertisement in my social media feed the other day that's like Instagram with baked in teen accounts now. Does that make any difference? Does it even help? Or is it more just like I'm guessing it's an answer that covers their bases because of the lawsuit you just described?
That's kind of what my guess is. I don't know exactly how it works. Hopefully it's better, but yeah, I don't know.
Wasn't there legislation in Utah about social media accounts for kids a couple years ago?
I think so. And I don't know how that works on a local level, because these devices, we're not connected to a Utah network that can regulate whether or not somebody under 13 is accessing social media. And so I think as a step in the right direction, I think if enough governors are pushing towards that, then maybe we can get some broader legislation that'll put pressure on the companies. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. I was just, when you were talking about it, I thought, oh, that's there, and I don't even. And also, to your point, kids are smart. If they want it, they're going to probably figure out a way around it. You know, kids can, I'm sure there's a way around it if they want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's great. That's great. So, you know, I read about online, like, is it basically anywhere where there's a chat? Is that?
Yeah, that's a big red flag.
Okay. Because I mean, I actually didn't even know what some of those things were. I still don't know. I don't know what Wiz and Kick are. I've heard of Telegram, Instagram, Snapchat, of course, but yeah.
I'm less familiar with them as well, but they're just other, like if kids want to have a chat that's only like somebody tells them this is a secure, like this, only a small group of people can have access to it or whatever. I don't know. Or maybe it's just, I don't know the impetus behind jumping to those platforms.
But it sounds like they're showing up and you're seeing.
Yeah. And I've seen law enforcement publish on their websites, those specific sites as well, saying, make sure your kids aren't on those. And a lot of times, I mean, some of these apps that may not even be on there, they can be disguised as a calculator on the kid's phone. And you don't know, just by looking at it, you wouldn't know. And so again, having that open communication so your kids don't feel like they have to hide from you is a huge, huge thing to focus on.
How do you go about building that? How do you coach people to go about building that communication with their kids?
That's a good question. I think it's going back to that, learning to stay in control of your emotions, and not, if your kid comes to you saying they lost X amount of money because they did this, or somebody's asking for nude pictures of them or whatever. I mean, not to not let them feel like you think any less of them because they're coming to you with that. And so it's, I don't know, it's developing, it's learning to love your kid, learn to be curious, spend time with them. Yeah, that's a hard one, because it's like with traditional parenting, a lot of times, and not a lot of times, at least in my experience, it seems like parenting should be more punitive. Like there's timeouts, and there's, back in the day, corporal punishment.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that, we need a huge shift into more of the positive parenting, and recognizing that kids are acting out or acting up because their body's telling them something and they don't know how to handle it. And so it's recognizing that these are little kids, little bodies, or even, I mean, teenagers learning how to deal with the hormone changes and whatnot. And they may make dumb decisions, but we need to make sure that they know that we're a safe place.
I mean, that like is like it feels like a mic drop moment. That was really good. Thank you. Thank you. You have a proactive approach with how you're handling this, but is there anything that as a parent keeps you up at night from a security perspective or just a safety perspective?
Yeah. For me, I mean, a big part of it was like not teaching them enough. Like I'm in cybersecurity, and I would feel dumb if my kids like fall prey to phishing attacks, or or an online predator or something with my work at the Innocent Lives Foundation. Like I feel like they should be bulletproof, and I know that's not the case. And that's another reason I have this game is, again, another way. And they've been great at helping me play test it and learn it, and so it's helped them be more aware. And so I don't know, it all still keeps me up at night just because I know everything I do will never be enough. But as long as I can, again, let them know that I'm there for them when something does happen, that's, I think, the biggest thing that I guess the plan B. I mean, plan A would be that nothing ever happens to them. But
Sure,
when
of
it
course.
does, I just want to be there for them.
Yeah. And it might, hopefully they're, what you're teaching them will only have to kick in with something minor, right? Hopefully
Right.
that's what, but you still want them to be aware of it. I like that approach of just being more open. And yeah, thanks for going there with me. Are there have you had any experiences that would just really blow people's mind from working with the Innocent Lives Foundation?
One thing a statistic that keeps coming up is that one predator can affect up to 400 kids in the way that they act. And so stopping one predator literally can affect hundreds of kids' lives. And so we're a small organization, but we're always looking for, again, that the ability. I think it costs around $6,000 to close the case on one predator. And so that's just, I don't know.
That's impactful.
The reach is incredible and sickening. And there's always more to do. Yeah.
Wow. Are the people motivated? Is it mostly out of money, or are they just like legitimately like creeps?
I think it's a good question. I would think mostly creeps. I think there is maybe some money aspect in some of them, but the ones that I've known, they're just sick people.
Man, that sucks. I kind of wish it was money. I actually really wish it was money. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's sad. What can people at home do to help the Innocent Lives Foundation? They're hearing this and feeling like I feel right now when they heard that, and they're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, we have a very generous donor right now that's offered to match donations up to $200,000 for the course of this year. So if you want your money to go further, now is the time. And if you have a company that matches you as well, I mean, it's a charity that shows up on the charity lists as well.
Yeah.
So those are some great ways. We're looking for volunteers, so people who are experts in marketing or getting the word out. I mean, there may be opportunities to help in those capacities as well.
It's cool. I think people will like that. And to your point, yeah, I mean, it's great to get a double match there potentially. If your company matches, you get a match. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. Are there any tools that parents can use besides education to help protect their kids?
Yeah, there are. And I mean, one simple tool, kind of a paper tool, is to come up with a screen or device agreement plan with your kids. And so you work together on what the rules are going to be in the house for both the parents and the kids. So where a device is stored at night, or how much time is spent on them, and you work on that with your kids, so they have buy-in and know that you're bought in as well. So that's a really simple one that you can do, and there's lots of forms online that can help you get started with that. Otherwise, there are monitoring apps like Bark is, I think, a more popular one, where you can It'll send you alerts on your phone if your kid's searching up certain things, or if they download certain things, or if they spend too much time somewhere. And they're even, and we have a lot of this on the Innocent Lives Foundation website, where we'll talk about even some of the built-in tools that Android or Apple phones have that you can get started with as far as making your kid's phone a little bit more safe. So you can go from free all the way to, if you want to pay a subscription, you can get a little bit more.
If you could solve one problem right now for cybersecurity safety for kids, what would that be?
It's being targeted so much with the advertisement. I mean, it goes in. I mean, it's kind of connected with the gaming community. I mean, games as well. I mean, they're engineered to work against people's brains. I mean, they're meant to take advantage of the dopamine rush and all the chemicals and whatnot. And so it would be some sort of kibosh on anything that doesn't allow them to grow and develop normally. And I know that's a pie in the sky kind of a thing, but
No, yeah, but also like, well, you gotta have a North Star. I mean, why not?
yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's just crazy that people are out there like acting in such a nefarious way. It's just like with intent to harm like that.
Yeah. And that's more greed based. I mean, that is a way that Instagram and these other companies are taking advantage of kids, as they are preying on their underdeveloped brains. And
Yeah.
yeah.
How did you come up with the idea for Curious and Secure?
I've been a huge proponent of the mental and emotional well-being, and that being an aspect of it. And curiosity, there was a phrase that I heard, I can't remember if it was in a book or a podcast, but something along the lines of get curious, not furious. And so curious is just always, I don't know, it's just embedded in me, and tying it to security, like it just blended really well. Just curious and secure, like you become more secure when you are curious.
Isn't that interesting though? Like I feel like that makes sense when you say it, and I totally agree also. Sometimes you feel like in my own life, sometimes I think that it's easier to, like, I guess like the example we said earlier, where it's easier to avoid something, but really if you're looking to get more secure, just get knowledgeable. And so curious and secure completely go together really well. I like that. I like that you put those two together. And so the goal with Curious and Secure is to just help stimulate that, and people help them stay curious and provide avenues. And is that it? I actually made an assumption what I should have done, but
no, that's pretty much it. Is just is teaching, like giving them opportunities to become curious. So offering them these games with all these concepts that may be new or a little different, and to get them to start asking questions, but not just at that level, but like I mentioned with that reality check card, that there is an actual component of not just about the learning aspect, but actually when you're engaging or when something confronts you, you're able to remember, okay, I need to slow down, get a reality check, and then move forward.
Yeah. That's hard. It's hard to, you have to really train that in though, to help people get it where it's like ingrained enough that they're actually like in the moment be like, oh yes, actually I did feel that, because to your point, like your logic is going to go away when you're feeling flooded. And
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, with my background mostly in cybersecurity, it's less in the more mental and emotional well-being side of things, and so that's what I'm trying to strengthen on my side as well. Because, like you mentioned earlier, like meditation, there are other practices that can help you become more grounded if you're practicing them on a regular basis. That can then show up and help you when it counts.
That makes sense. They'll be there. The tool's already sharp when you need it.
Yeah,
I get that. So, do you find the behavior to be consistent when people are faced with a threat from an attacker, from like the consumer perspective, and then also from like someone in an organization making a decision?
Yeah, I think so. I see one thing that I try to, so corporate security programs can sometimes be more punitive. I mean, similar to parenting or whatnot, where somebody clicks on a link or does something wrong and they get punished or required to take extra training, talk to their manager or whatnot. And all that does is give that person a bad taste in their mouth for the security program. And it doesn't show that the business actually cares about them. And so a better way to do that is to, again, create a safe environment where it's okay to fail, but they're following that up with not just consequential education that they may need, but recognizing maybe the person is stressed out. And so they're they're emotionally overloaded and aren't able to handle things in a way. And so maybe they need resources to help them work through some difficult things in their personal life. Or maybe their desk is facing a window and the sun comes in at a certain time. And it gives them headaches and they're unable to like healthily process their emails because they've got stuff going on externally. And so I think there's a lot that businesses can do to help, again, make their environment a safe environment, a healthy environment, one where employees thrive and don't fear being punished for things.
Do you have any specific things that they can do in that case, or just in general, there are things that they can do?
I think it's being in touch with again, that open communication, like going back to with the kids, asking them to teach you. Well, ask your employees, like get a pulse on their emotional health on a regular basis, understand where they're working from and figure out ways to help soften that if there's any way. I don't know what that looks like in a larger program type of a thing, but I think just showing that you care about the human and not just the bottom line.
I like that. Is that the responsibility, would you say, of like more corporate management, or is that something that comes from, the security department, or is it a coordinated effort?
Yeah, I think probably a coordinated effort, given that the security team is invested in creating a more secure environment, but then maybe your human resources or whoever it is that's more in charge of the personnel and a safe environment. I mean, they work about like you get all your harassment trainings and whatnot at work for the interpersonal stuff, but what about the external things? Like, are we giving them, setting them up for success in their emotional health?
I like that. You probably did, I'm guessing.
I haven't done a lot of that specific work in a bit. I've been focusing more on the education aspect of it, focused on that. And so I don't have anything recently other than a lot, like some of the articles that I've written have been based on those actual cases and just more on the despicable acts that were happening and how we were able to, again, work with law enforcement to get those stopped.
You've written some articles. Are those on your website?
They're on the Innocent Lives Foundation.
On the Innocent Lives? Cool.
Yeah, there's a blog there.
I'll check them out. Is there one that you remember by chance?
I've done, a lot of them have been on educating parents on how to secure the devices for their kids. And I've worked on a couple others on the scam, like less on kids specifically, but understanding how, talking about the emotional health and how being emotional healthy can help us as parents. It can help kids. I mean, there's a lot of it that can do to help them be more secure online. And so that was a big one that I did recently.
What's your favorite article that you have on there that I should point people to?
Maybe that one, the most recent one. I do have one on social media and teens, and that's another good one. So I dive into all the bad with it. It's a couple years old, so it doesn't take in some of the recent stuff, but it still has a lot of good advice on how to help your kids be safe.
Tell me about what they should do. What are the takeaways? That if someone's not going to go read the article, what are the things that they should do to keep their teens safe on social media?
For one, they should not have it too young. Like I really think, I don't remember, I don't know what Jonathan Haidt's recommendation is, but I would say 16 is probably the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And I like that age because it's before they're leaving the house, but it gives you enough time as a parent to help model. And that was a big thing too, is as a parent, model how you engage with social media.
That one's hitting me right now because I know all the way it's true. And I'm thinking in my own mind, like, I'm so bad at that right now. So keep going.
Yeah. So like recognizing, like, how do you recognize when something is fake? Or like, is this a real depiction of this person? Is this how they really live? Or are they just showing one side of their life? And helping your kids recognize that you need to think critically about what you're seeing, because they're feeding you stuff. People will show you only one aspect of it, and it just toys with you. There's all kinds of helping them understand how bias works and how these algorithm in social media creates an echo chamber, and you're only going to see things that align with what you're interested in, and it's going to reinforce those views. And you need to be able to step back and question, is this healthy? Or is there another way to see this? Anyways, going through that with your kids, and that's something that I can do better as well, but speaking out loud when this is happening can really help your kid see how to process it on their own instead of just, failing.
I like that. Giving it a label.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. That goes with the curious and secure mindset too. Perfect world. How would the devices handle at your house? What would you?
We have a central charging station, so no devices in bedrooms. Computers are in open spaces without closed doors. And then, I mean, we could do better with like actually sitting down and going through like apps that have been used or message history or browser history, just to not to, again, interrogate the kid, but to just let them know that we're interested. We want to know where are you spending your time and why is that interesting to you? Again, letting them teach you. And then we do have some devices, or we have an app, the Circle app, similar to Bark. It'll allow for limits on certain types of apps and certain times of the day, so they can focus on homework and not have distractions because those apps are blocked.
Nice.
Yeah.
I could use something like that. I like the idea of a central charging station. That's good. And do you guys, the parents, are also central charging too?
We should. We don't. But again, that would be something that could work out better in like a device agreement with the family.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason not to, because I mean, we would probably have a better night's sleep
I read that it just moving where you charge your phone outside of your bedroom, it's like a general, it's like a 10% quality of life. It might even be more than that. The two numbers, it's either 10 or 30, but like a 10%, let's go to the lower number. And if it is, it's a 10% quality of life increase, like across the board, just changing where you plug your phone in.
Yeah.
And I think that's a significant increase, but like I'm hooked, man. Like I still plug my phone in next to my bed, and I don't know. It's crazy that it could change my life that much, but I'm like, that's a hell of an addiction.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah. It is.
Oh man. Yeah. So you mentioned 2 articles. That was the one about social media and teen use. The first one that you said was
on emotional and mental well-being.
Oh yeah. So does that one, talk me through that one? I'm killing this microphone.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I'm trying to remember. It kind of goes into the neuroscience of the brain, just how it works and the emotional center can override the logical center, and that's really kind of the root of falling prey to cyber attacks, or any kind of con, really. But again, learning how to have that, being able to put the brakes on, take a breather, and that's kind of the main focus. That's one I haven't reviewed more recently, so it's a little fuzzy.
No worries. It sounds like really, really useful. And there's some tips and things on how to do it and approach it and deal with it with your
We
kids.
try to make sure, everything is practical and has actionable information in it. Yeah.
I like that. I'll find those and put some links into it, and that's good stuff. If you could go back and tell your early career self one thing, what would you tell them?
I've sort of developed into this mindset of this idea of curious and secure, but I think it would, like, learning it a lot sooner and recognizing that, and not just in protecting myself online, but just in general, just that idea of it's okay to like not understand something. Because I think I spent a lot of my life being afraid of not being who people expected me to be, kind of that imposter syndrome, which I know is a thing that a lot of people have a hard time with, is just like, do I measure up? Am I good enough? And I've suffered with some really bad managers in the past that have just sort of made me scared to like reveal, like to talk about anything. And so it was just a lot of internal pressure and whatnot, and recognizing that it's okay to ask questions. Like, people don't look down on you, because sometimes people have the same question and they're afraid to ask. And so you asking is actually going to be a service to others, because they may benefit from the same answer. So yeah, just being a little bit more willing to show your lack of knowledge.
I love that. Thanks for going there with me. I think I haven't ever talked with a single person who's been honest about this, or I've never talked with a single person where we've broached this topic where they haven't said that part about feeling some version of imposter syndrome. I think I feel like that's probably a pretty core fear for a lot of people. We're all like, wow, am I good enough in this situation? And anyway, thanks for labeling that, though.
Yeah.
What are the 2 things that you see consistently consumers doing from a cybersecurity perspective that they just shouldn't be doing?
It's becoming easier to secure like social media accounts, but some people just they share everything online, and I mean, it's, I don't know, sometimes it's their brand. That's who they want to be. That's how they want to show up. And they don't realize how easy it is. Like, they're on this great vacation, they're sharing photos of where they're at. And it's just like, well, now anybody who wants to target you knows you're not at home. And you've opened up that opportunity for somebody to infiltrate your space while you're not there. I mean, so yeah, I don't know, but that's just sharing too much, I think. And social media just makes it, I don't know, that idea of needing the likes and the attention and whatnot. And I think, again, that it overrides the logic, because your emotion, you're needing something that you're not getting elsewhere. And so, I don't know, something to that effect.
I like it. Be a little more measured in what you share online.
Yeah.
It's good advice. Speaking of advice, what's a really good piece of advice that you received in the past once?
I think it would go back to my mentor, Chris Hadnaggy, just that idea of leaving people better after you've engaged with them. And this was coming from, I mean, when you're trying to deceive them and you want to leave them feeling better, but I mean, it works in all aspects. Just that idea of it's a small bit of service that you can do for somebody. Just lift somebody else up, and that's kind of been my goal. That's what I've been trying to do, is just lift other people up, share what I know, help them be more secure. And so, yeah.
You're doing it today. I mean, you shared really good stuff today. So I think I like that. I could see that through you.
Thanks.
What's one thing that parents should stop doing immediately in order to help their kids stay safe online?
Think hard about when you give your kid advice, and even harder when you let them on social media or any kind of messaging app. And that's the gateway, a door that you can easily shut and make a huge difference.
Do you worry at all about the school issued devices?
Yeah, it's something my wife and I have been really frustrated with. That, I mean, they tout it as a huge thing that all kids have a Chromebook. And I can see for sure there are some benefits. Maybe kids don't have a computer at home and it allows them that access. But in the long run, I mean, kids are bypassing the filters. They're getting on and playing games at school. Who knows what else they're doing. And it's proving to be more of a distraction than actually allowing them to focus and actually learn. And so I don't think the benefits outweigh the cost.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, something I talked to someone about a while ago, they were talking about this issue with school issued passwords. And this guy was telling a story. He was like, my daughter, they wouldn't let her change her email password. And she's like, I'm not using the email. She's like, luckily she was heads up enough. And she knew, like, she had learned, hey, probably with a great conversation with some, like a parent relationship like the one you're talking about. But I mean, she's like, I don't want to use my email because this is too easy. And like, if ever other people know my password, like, how is this safe? Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know what the answer is there. Cause I mean, I guess, I don't know.
That's a good question. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's tricky to interact with those school accounts. Like, I've found that, like, my kids have needed something and I try to email it, doesn't let me email it. So I know there's some guards in place to help prevent that, but they're not perfect. And especially if they're simple passwords, I mean, maybe someone else can get access to that.
Well, I think in this case, it was like last name and birthday year. And so like someone's easily like, I might be missing the story, but I remembered it's like someone was like, well, we know you had a birthday party last year. We know your last name. Like, we can just log into your account.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's freaking dicey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they're better. Now.
Hopefully
that was a one-off. Yeah. Here's a question I have back to the, we talked about this, I think we talked about this a little bit, but I'd like to talk about it a little bit more directly. But when you're designing a simulation, are there any specific techniques that you borrow from sleight of hand?
Yeah. Maybe not specific mechanics, but like when a magician is on stage, they'll often, if you just do the trick, you get a low response. A big part of the trick is the narrative that you build up and surrounds it. And so in social engineering, we call that a pretext, like what the content that we are adding in that makes it seem like this is something that somebody needs to engage with. So it's creating that narrative. In magician's terms, that's called patter. And then there's the misdirection bit of it as well, where, and we talked about this a little bit, but the idea that I'm going to present something that I want to slide under your alert system as best as possible. And so I'm going to present something that is either enticing or scares you or whatever, so that you're not going to think too hard about this extra. I ask you to click on this link or open this document or whatever. And so, yeah, there are definitely overlaps with how a magician does it to entertain, whereas we use it to test defenses.
You said the patter. It's called a patter. Is the kind of narrative that you
Yeah,
use?
yeah.
Is there a structure that you use to develop a patter, or is it?
A lot of times it's a story that just kind of helps, again, maybe misdirect the audience into thinking about one thing while you're doing something else. There could be a structure where maybe, I mean, if you're aware of who your audience is, then you're going to structure it in a way that relates and connects to them and gets them comfortable, relaxes their skepticism so that they don't think twice.
I like that. Do you ever watch like magicians and try to dissect what they're doing, or?
Yeah. There's a local restaurant here that it's a dinner theater where you get like a 5-course dinner and then they do a magic show all intertwined to it. And I love, that's been one of my favorite places to go.
What's it called? Just curious.
Mystique.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And Prestige. They have Mystique, I think, is a little more higher class, if you will, and Prestige is a smaller stage, more stage magic.
But they come and they do like magic while you're
and they'll have magicians that rotate through and come through.
Do you ever can you catch them now, like kind of see the sleight of hand sometimes?
Yeah. I understand. And if I don't see it, I can sometimes understand what's going on. I don't know all of it or how it all works, but yeah, I can. It's once you know how to do it, you kind of lose that luster or the excitement or wow factor, which is a little bit of a bummer, but every now and then it's still there if you get a really good magician or something new that you haven't seen before.
I like that. What's your take? Have you seen Oz Perlman?
The name sounds familiar.
He's I think he calls himself the mentalist.
Okay.
He'll that guy's wild. I was just curious if you had any thoughts on how he'll be like sitting down, like think of a word, or like he was on the Joe Rogan podcast and guessed his PIN number. And then he did a couple of other things. He'll be like, I don't know, I've just seen his stuff, and he does some, I don't even know how to describe it, because some of his stuff like will involve a card, or I watched one today where he was doing this thing where he had a card trick, and I was like trying to figure out how he labeled. I was like, I have a theory of how that could work, but it only covers like about half of it. And
yeah, well, at one of the, oddly enough, I attended a social engineering conference a couple years ago, and they had a cold reader do a training. And so I took a day's training on cold reading.
What's cold reading?
Like tarot cards reading. And so like learning just how they'll prime, they'll say certain things that they could apply to anybody, but people, when they hear it, it resonates with something inside of them. And so they think that what you're saying is actually, anyways. And so there's ways that they can read it to make it seem like it's real, or they'll plant certain words as they're talking to you, and then they'll do the mentalist trick or whatever. And then you don't realize that throughout the whole course of the conversation, they've been implanting these ideas in your head. And so when it comes to what they're doing, kind of that idea of inception, like you don't realize that your idea was theirs to begin with. And so it becomes part of the trick.
Was that social engineering?
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
And I'm not that talented, but I know that there are people that can do that kind of thing.
I mean, you watch people do it, it feels so fluid. I guess it's like any craft, right? You train your craft, get really good at it, and it seems make it look easy. That's really cool. I bet you took that the cold reading as like just part, like you were somewhere else. And
no, it was at the social engineering conference. They had different experts in different areas that kind of overlapped with social engineering, and this was one that I was just like, I was fascinated with.
So what's this conference? Is like
it's called the Human Behavior Conference, and it's usually in Orlando, but they'll have like Joe Navarro is a big body language specialist, and he came down and did some trainings there. But yeah.
What other types of people are going to sort of learn about social engineering? Like, where does this apply? Like, I see the ones we've talked about today, but like,
yeah, a lot of it is cybersecurity, but they've had, I mean, it's also for professionals as well. Like I mentioned, doctors, law enforcement, they'll come in to get expert training on behavioral, human behavior.
I could see it being really useful.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go. I have one last question if you're okay with it. This is off the cuff, but we've talked a lot about cybersecurity from a parent's perspective, right? Or an adult's perspective, I should say, adults or caregivers. What's one thing that you think kids should know about keeping themselves safe and still curious while they're online?
I think having healthy interactions with real people. And because I think we get lost in online, it's too easy to not see other people online as people. And you get a lot of and I think that's a lot of the polarization that's happening. And so, and I see it in my kids sometimes too, just this reluctance to engage with other human beings. They feel safer on a device because it is hard. It is awkward to have interpersonal interactions. And I think that's something that's, I don't know, I'd like to encourage them to do more.
And how do we help that? How do we help that happen?
It's a good question. I mean, one is maybe taking away the devices in schools to not make them so prolific. But otherwise, I don't know, letting kids see how much more there is out there, whether it's, I mean, I know sports is kind of an obvious big one, but like tabletop gaming, I mean, that's coming up and there's a lot more interesting areas there. Outdoor activities, hiking. If you're in a beautiful area like here in Utah, there's lots of places to go. But I don't know. I mean, it helps with the parents to help create that influence and model that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like that. I think that's really good advice. This has been awesome, Lee. Thank you so much for coming, man. I really, really enjoy this. I think people are going to love this. This is great. This is super interesting. And we have actionable feedback. If people want to get in touch with you, where can they find you?
So on social media at Curious and Secure, or I have a website, leeanderson.net, and it's got my other information there.
That's awesome, man. Thanks so much for coming in. Thanks everybody for listening.